Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back from Paris. Welcome back to my office. I'm here to preview Newcastle United against Manchester United on Saturday in the Premier League. 8 o'clock kickoff under the lights at St James's Park. And we're still getting over the disappointment of what happened at the end of the PSG game. I think Eddie Howe was asked about it in his morning news conference. He's just spoken to the press. I have a weekend off this weekend, so I won't be at the game, but I'll still bring you a video on Sunday. He said that more strength should have been given to the decision that was made on the pitch, and it really felt like, as I said, pitch side on Tuesday, that it felt like that referee, who I thought was fantastic throughout the game actually, really bowed to the pressure of the baying crowd and the players, and the VAR obviously stood down the night after, and it was a very, very poor mistake. A little bit of confusion over the UEFA rules, but obviously the fact that the referee's the VAR was stood down suggests that it was a poor decision. So still difficult to get over. But Newcastle can take solace from that performance. It was a fantastic display. They're still in with a shout in the Champions League. We'll put a pin in that until Milan in a couple of weeks. I should be at the presser and the match, hopefully, to cover that one. But look ahead to Manchester United this weekend. I think Newcastle got a fantastic opportunity to continue that upward momentum after that Chelsea victory. And that performance at PSG. The only worry I have, I think Manchester United is obviously coming into the game after a 3-3 draw against Galatasaray. They've got their problems, particularly away from home. Obviously, everyone knows that they're in good form in terms of victories at the moment. They're going really well, but I think that they will face a difficult task against Newcastle if Newcastle turn up and do their jobs properly. I think this is one of those games where if Newcastle really show themselves back at St James's Park and use the sort of atmosphere, the frustration from Tuesday, the fact that everyone will be rowdy after drinking all day throughout Saturday, it's one of those games where they can make it really difficult for Manchester United if they turn up and do what they can. But as I said, I spoke to Kieran Trippier at the midweek, and he sort of said that he pointed out that no subs were made on Tuesday, and it doesn't seem like any players are fresh back for the game. I think that's kind of another thing you've got to be wary of, is that these 11 players played 90 minutes and they're probably going to play 90 minutes again. There are a couple of other players coming back. Lewis Hall will be available in the Premier League again after missing Chelsea because of the parent club loan. Matt Ritchie will be back and in because of the Champions League squad. Emil Kraft as well, but none of those players are gonna be game changers. I touched upon the game against Bournemouth, as I said, with Trippier, and he sort of batted it away. But the point I was trying to make with the question is, what is it now why did Newcastle look so much fresher again than they did against Bournemouth? And I think a 2-week break reset things, but the fact that and it was just at the end of a very long run of difficult games, it caught up with them. Hopefully it won't do that against Manchester United this weekend, but the fact that the same players are likely to play again kind of does sort of open up that possibility, I think, and that's something to be aware of, absolutely, going into this game. Manchester United do have a lot of quality. Obviously, Marcus Rashford's had a difficult season, but was fantastic last year. The reason why Manchester United won the Carabao Cup, really, in February was him and Casemiro, but neither of them are playing particularly well. But with Bruno Fernandes in there as well, and Alejandro Garnacho, obviously, that wonderful goal he scored against Everton at the weekend, and then scored against Galatasaray as well. He's in good form. So, Manchester United are not to be taken lightly, despite their poor form and despite their poor, their poor performance at St James's last year. I think I said on Twitter yesterday that Joe Willock's goal last year was the goal of the season for me, because it really encapsulated everything about what made Newcastle so good. And I think if Newcastle can repeat that intensity, as I said earlier, then they should really have a good chance of winning the game. Little bit of an update on the press conference on injuries, and it's good news, not for this week, of course, but there was a worry that Joe Willock, after missing the Chelsea game and then obviously the PSG game, that he'd be out for a long time with a reoccurrence of his Achilles injury. And he went to see a specialist, Eddie Howe said, in Paris, but it seems to be that he's avoided serious injury and he'll be back in a few weeks. Same with Sean Longstaff and his ankle. And Sven Botman might not need surgery, which was a possibility which would have ruled him out for probably the season, you would assume. So in the medium term, it's not so bad. For this game, I think it's still going to be quite a difficult one to make any changes for. Louis Miley will start again in midfield. Another big week. I mean, how many 17-year-olds will place, up against Enzo Fernandez, Manuel Ugarte, and Casemiro in 1 week, and expect to come out on top? And I think Louis Miley did that twice against Enzo Fernandez and Manuel Ugarte. I've written a piece for him for Colossus Bets in my column this week, so check that out on my Twitter page if you like. And yeah, I think he's going to be in a really, really good position to start. A lot of pressure on Anthony Gordon to repeat, his performances up against probably Aaron Wan-Bissaka at right back, potentially Diogo Dalot. But yeah, Newcastle will fancy their chances in this game, and they absolutely should. A victory would be massive for their ability to put pressure on that top four. The European games, a few games on Sunday, so a few of those rivals play on the day later, so it's a really good chance to lay down a marker before another tough trip to Tottenham next week, which we'll get into, at a later date. But yeah, I think Newcastle really should be confident of a victory in this one because of the manner of Manchester United's performances, but also the manner of Newcastle's ability at home. It sort of takes a different turn, I think. We looked at the Bournemouth game and we spoke about the Bournemouth game, and Newcastle were tired in that game, but they also didn't impose themselves straight away. And I think that's kind of where they succeeded against Chelsea, as they really started quickly. They took the lead, obviously the equaliser, and then a little bit of luck with the double, the 2 goals in quick succession. Obviously made by Chelsea mistakes. I think Manchester United are in a sort of similarly vulnerable position, similarly sort of transitional phase generally, not quite knowing where the direction is. So I think that Newcastle can really take advantage of that. Newcastle are one of those teams that absolutely know what their jobs are. Newcastle will be in a great position to go and push closer to that top 4 with a victory, and really push that Bournemouth, make that Bournemouth defeat into a real blip rather than anything else, ahead of Spurs. And then obviously there's Chelsea and Milan to come in December as well. There's really difficult fixtures at a really tough time. Keep coming. So many, I've said this before, but it's not just about the quality of the opposition. It's also about the sort of mental toughness you have, the relentlessness of the mentality that's needed to win these games. They're all such huge occasions that it can take a lot, drain a lot physically as well as emotionally, as well as physically. So absolutely crucial that Newcastle start fast and impose themselves on this game. And I think they can get a victory before going to Spurs. And obviously Milan and Chelsea in the Carabao Cup, these fixtures keep coming. But that's what happens when you're a very good side, and that's what Newcastle are these days. So we shouldn't really complain. I'll be back on Sunday. As I say, I do have a weekend off, but I will be back on Sunday to look back at this game. Please continue to like, share and subscribe. Really appreciate all the support on the videos from Paris. Love being out there. Love being in Dortmund as well. Hopefully that the European campaign carries on after Christmas and I can get back out there as well. Cheers, and I'll catch you next time.